Hi, in this demo I want to show you the kind of code that you would expect to use when you're reading or setting up to read and then reading and getting the information out of barcodes. Now, this project doesn't have a storyboard, no nib files, no nothing, no app delegate. All we have here is the code in a view controller so that we can show you how to write this kind of code. Any place that you want to read and interpret barcode information must adopt a protocol called AV Capture Metadata Output Objects Delegate, and that we have done here in our view controller header file. I've also defined an array of barcode types as a compile time constant, and two barcode types that we want to be able to read here are AV Metadata Object Type QR code, AV Metadata Object Type Aztec code. All of the barcode types are prefaced with this AV Metadata Object type. Now, previously, AV Metadata Object was only used for face recognition. And so we didn't have to specify what object types we wanted to use. Now, we don't want to use them all. There is a AV Metadata Object type and use all of them type thing. But we don't want to use them all because this could drain CPU cycles and therefore battery life. So we only want to scan what we want to scan for. So in this case, I have defined an array with two barcode types that I want to be looking for. Obviously, this could contain more than two. It could contain all, but again, watch your battery life. So in our view controller, if I scroll down to view did load, I'm just, after calling up through to super, I am running a method on self called setup barcoding. The process of setting up barcoding and then reading barcode information is actually very simple. Don't let the amount of code scare you off. It's a very simple and straightforward process. So the first thing we need to do is get the video session. It's an AV capture session, and I've just allocated and initialized that. Then I get the device, which in this case is the camera. It's the device with the media type, AV media type video. And then I get an NS error, which I'm setting to nil initially, so that if there is an error, we want to trap that. Now remember, with video, with using the camera and or the microphone, there will be these errors that crop up having to do with permission that we talked about in the earlier demonstration. So after we set up after we get the session, obviously we would set up other session options here. And then we need to set the input device and check for an error. So I've got a video input object here, which is of class AV capture device input, device input with device, and then we use the device that we set up before, which is our video capture device, and then the error I'm passing in. Now, if that did not come back, or if it came back as not nil, let's say, if it did come back, then I want to add this input to my video session. However, if it comes back as nil, we want to error it, log out the error, and then bail out of the code, or bail out of the running app. So we print out the error, and then this obviously would be localized description or some property of the error, and then we're exiting with 1. All right, so now that we've got hopefully our input added to our video session, now we need to set the output. And we're setting the output as of type AV Capture Metadata Output. I've called it data output here, and I just alloc and initialize that. That's the only options really that we have, but then we need to set that metadata object's delegate here to self. Remember that we have adopted the protocol, and so we're setting its delegate to self. So there will be a delegate method to read the actual barcode data when it comes back. We're also setting it on a queue. This is the only option we have. We can set it on the main queue, as we do here, or we could set it on any NS operation queue that we had set up before. Finally, we add that output type to the video session. Then we set the metadata object types to look for. And remember, I set up this array barcode types as a compile time constant. So the barcodes to scan for is the barcode type array, and then data output dot, a property, metadata object types is the barcodes to scan for. And we're done. This is really very simple. It takes longer to explain it than it does to code it. So the next thing we must do is get that protocol method and define what happens. So the method we're looking for here, the only required method of the AB capture metadata output objects delegate protocol, is capture output did output metadata objects from connection. So the one parameter we're really interested in here is did output metadata objects. We can see that this is an array of metadata objects. Now, this is going to be, hopefully, the barcoded information that we're getting back. So we need to look at each one of those objects in that array at each metadata object. So I'm calling that data object in a for-in loop. Now, if the object type is one of the barcode types that we're being looked for, we need to process it. The simplest way to do this is we can take our barcode types array and check it for contains object, the data object type. Now, data object's type is going to be a string, and the barcode objects array is an array of strings. They just have constant names. So we're looking for the barcode type array for an object of the type that came back in this barcode. And if it's there, we need to actually cast the data object to a AV metadata machine readable code object. So I'm calling that mdata, and we cast it to an AV metadata machine readable code object, and then we get the string value. If the string value is there, then we do something with the data here. And here, I'm just setting a property called barcode data to the string value of the mdata. Now, this is an NS string. We can parse that out. We can do anything we want. We can do anything that we would normally do with an NS string. So for each metadata object that we get back in this metadata objects array, we do something with the data that comes back. Now, if the barcode is degraded to such an extent, the actual physical barcode is degraded to such an extent that the string object cannot be read, we need to handle that case too, and that's the else clause. We just log out barcode could not be read. You may want to push back and say, try reading the barcode again. You may want to do several things. You may, after 3 tries, bail out. That choice is up to you. So really, doing something with the data and then logging out the error could be replaced by any code that you would want to handle this. And that is how we do it. And you can see that setting up to read and then reading the data from barcodes is really very simple indeed. Thank you very much.